to significantly less than that. Doesn't even match one of the 4s McDuffie came up with, and he gets the first turn. All right, now I see an upstart goblin in there. Plays it right away. And Akridge is up to 9,000. And he picks up what appears to be Solemn Warning. Nice card to have.
Solemn Warning, Moraltalk, Compulsory. Trappy just set that we can't identify. Traptrix, Dionia.
Call of the Haunted.
And Call.
Keeps the call in hand.
No aggression.
Whereas on the other side, Myrmeleo's up first.
Yeah.
And Solemn Warning puts a quick stop to that.
McDuffie knows he has to keep Akridge off. He's not going to be fielding much offense for a while.
Unless he wants to just start swinging away with that Dionia, but that does not seem to be his MO from
Seems
the way we saw
unlikely,
him play earlier. Pot of Duality reveals Upstart Goblin, Torrential Tribute, and Pot of Duality.
No help there.
I mean, you could take the Upstart and get one card deeper and put Akridge on 10,000.
Take the Torrential and just try to
Torrential and keep him off
wait
the board.
out the next monster, yeah, just see another turn. Take the Pot of Duality and just try again next turn, sure.
That's the tricky part with it, though, is that you have to try again next turn, since you can only activate one Pot of Duality each turn. Pot of Duality each turn. Of course, he's probably thinking, well, I got rid of one monster. There's no way this guy's drawing another. And it turns out he doesn't need to, because he has Artifact Sanctum face down to special summon Artifact Moraltalk from the deck.
He'll just go search for one if he doesn't have it.
That's one of two. In effect, Akridge plays 11 normal summonable monsters that are of use in a particular, or that are of use for offense.
Moraltalk forces out Bottomless Trap Hole.
And we've seen one of them, which is one of the 3.
And a Fire Hand.
Fire Hand's another one. Not bad. Definitely feels pretty good that he got the Bottomless Trap Hole out of the way right now.
Yeah. Fire Hand's going to go a long way to keeping the field under control if McDuffie eventually does find a monster.
Well, he's got a Mystical Space Typhoon.
Also not a monster. Really not what he's looking for here. Let's see what he can get off the Duality. Monster.
Ice Hand.
Soul Charge.
Soul Charge and
Myrmeleo.
Myrmeleo. Not bad at all. Tricky thing is, he probably, well, the thing that's making him scratch his head right now is, hey, why couldn't I get this on my first Pot of Duality?
Yeah.
That is not an easy choice, but he goes with Myrmeleo and normal summons it.
Does Akridge have a chain, a breakthrough?
Looks like no.
No.
And Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare.
McDuffie's definitely still in it then.
Is the choice. Now, in terms of main deck answers to that Fire Hand, there's not a whole lot.
1-for-1 trade after getting a free card is a pretty good answer.
Yep. 1,600 attack points.
About as good as you could hope for.
Liability, and sometimes it...
Sometimes an asset.
Yep. For some reason, I always think that she's got 1,700. I guess it's the halfway point between a Fire Hand
and McDuffie's going to recycle that Myrmeleo. Another free back row shot.
Pretty good to have.
Yep.
And this time, she's going to be chained down.
It's slightly better than just losing the card, I guess.
Yep, still an Xyz material.
Yeah.
Though, it wouldn't be that bad if she wound up in the graveyard, since he does have that other Traptrix in his hand to bring her back. So I guess there's an issue over whether or not a target was even chosen. with Myrmidon?
I guess.
Akridge had just immediately flipped
Yeah,
the chain
treating it as a formality. Maybe not smart to go quite that fast in the finals of the Continental Championships.
It would matter, though, if McDuffie had a Mystical Space Typhoon.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure I saw one hiding somewhere. Instead, he's going to go with compulsory evacuation device.
Even better.
That's a good one.
That's another search.
And it takes out...
Yep.
Traptrix, Trap Hole, Nightmare while leaving Fiendish Chain on the field.
Mm-hmm.
He's got another Upstart Goblin now, but first he's going to re-normal summon the Myrmidon. And that's going to get him a Traptrix, Trap Hole, Nightmare.
That was nice.
Akridge gains another 1,000 life points. And Upstart Goblin lets McDuffie dig one card deeper in his deck. And it looks like he picked up
a Sanctum? Yeah.
All right. With that set up, he makes a direct attack, and Akridge is down to 8,400. Duffy sets 2 more cards, and suddenly Akridge is thinking, hey, wait a minute, I'm the one who sets 5. Call of the Haunted in McDuffie's end phase brings back Myrmidon.
There's that Mystical Space Typhoon.
But he did have a Mystical Space Typhoon.
Yep. Just chose to reuse the Myrmidon for the search effect off the compulsory instead.
And I think that's the right choice.
That's the right choice.
Because you got to have something for those Call of the Haunteds, really.
Yep.
We saw last round how vital it is to have that card when you're running Artifact Moraltalk. Akridge sets a monster face down. And McDuffie's back up. Checks his own graveyard. And it looks like he's really considering summoning that other Traptrix. But the look on his face, hidden by the face palm, is making me think that he does not want to use it until Myrmidon's in the grave. Can be awfully tempting to try to rush through, but you really shouldn't do it.
From Moraltalk.
And that's just to get Myrmidon in the graveyard.
Yeah. Just to get that Dionia lined up.
Oh no, Akridge had drawn one of his Max C's and had to set it to defend himself.
Yep. Like
and
we
McDuffie
said,
has a look on his face like, I got away with one there.
Yep. Like we said, careful management of that card might make or break this game 1, and that was not the way anyone wanted to play their Maxi here. Again, that sends clear messages about Akridge's back row right now.
He sets another monster face down, and this time during the end phase, McDuffie activates his Sanctum.
That's got to feel extra good knowing that Maxi is out of the way.
Yep. And even if he had another one, it's probably the monster face down.
Oh, that would be terrible.
That would be brutal.
That would be awful. Although if it is, we probably won't find out because he's just going to Constellar Pleiades it anyways. Unless he really thinks it's the second Maxi, in which case he'll just attack it to find out.
That is not a risk I would take in game 1 of the finals of the World Championship qualifier.
I mean, maybe the Ixie summon would be the real risk, though. Like, knowing that those 2 back row cards aren't anything. I mean, they could be Blackhorn of Heaven. They could be Traptrix, Trapple Nightmare. We know they're not attack stops. We know that much.
What he might do, if he's okay with risking Torrential Tribute, is make that Dianea play right now. But I would absolutely
I don't
not
think
do
so.
that right now. I think
do
I'd
not
test the waters
think that would
with
be
the
the right way to
Pleiades,
go. Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, I have the
And
Dianea.
he's playing the Dianea. He's going for it. McDuffie smells blood in the water.
I'm going to call him No Fear McDuffie.
Oh, and unless he's got a counter, that was not.
He should have had a little more fear because
that one needle ceiling, and they are gone.
Yeah.
Brutal.
His friends are not going to let him hear the last of that one.
And Akridge has another call.
Akridge flips Call of the Haunted again.
More free destruction.
And blast the Black Horn of Heaven.
Oh, that was a beating.
Things have not gone well.
Akridge playing it disciplined. He knows he just needs to chip away at McDuffie because he's already down to 4,400. Now he'll go down to 28.
The good thing if you are McDuffie, though, is that there are no face-down cards on Akridge's spell and trap card zones, which I cannot remember the last time it happened.
Yeah. He sure had it when it counted. Akridge cool as a cucumber, too. Man. Oh.
The challenge for McDuffie is staying level-headed.
Yeah.
After that.
Because that had to hurt. When something like that happens, it's your fault.
Yep.
Like there's no excuse for it.
And he has drawn his second copy of Dianea. He's probably going to use that to take out Dianea into Dianea.
Yeah.
So
he's recycling the bottomless ever so briefly.
Got it. And he's taking Silent Honor Arc. Very helpful to have, as it will let him absorb the opposing Myrmileo and attack with impunity into what he's hoping is a Fire Hand. And it is.
Nice. McDuffie
Well
still
done.
making the right decision.
Level-headed, able to come back after making the not-so-correct decision last time around.
That'd be an admirable recovery if he can manage this.
Akridge sets another card, though, and it's time for that bottomless trap hole to go away.
Yep. Get that bottomless out of there.
Are we missing something? Is that an activated effect of Dianea? No? Of your next turn, okay. So the trap hole goes at the end of McDuffie's next turn. Which would be this turn. It's always confusing when you get those next of the whatevers, but you do it in the end phase, so the next end phase, and you have to be very, very careful when you
destroy the trap card at the end of your opponent's controller's opponent's next phase.
Yeah, like we haven't seen it today, but Abyss Sphere is another one. You want to activate it in your opponent's main phase because it self-destructs in the next opponent's
certainly like a super well-recognized card at this point. But yeah, no, when the card first came out, people were a little dumbstruck.
There was a slight error, though. McDuffie had put Akridge's Myrmileo into his own graveyard and has since forked it over.
Good, good, good.
Set monster joins McDuffie's side of the field.
McDuffie has that dark hole in hand.
Yep. Changes Silent Honor Arc to defense position, and now the bottomless trap hole is banished. Just to turn off. Akridge is up, and that back row is coming back again.
Yep.
Ice Hand joins the fray and takes down Silent Honor Arc. And McDuffie is back up. He flips his own Ice Hand face up. And thinks, what's the worst that could happen? Now, when he thinks about what the worst that could happen is, he remembers that needle ceiling and slows his roll a bit. It looked like he was just about ready to start crashing hands into each other. Instead, he attacks the face-down monster, which was another Fire Hand. Fire Hand will take out the Ice Hand. That will summon a second Ice Hand. Tricky thing there is it's a then.
Yeah, that did not go very well for him.
But he's got Pot of Duality. And he can't special summon this turn, but he takes Soul Charge anyways.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's going to do him a whole lot of good when he's got 2,800 life points and there are two Ice Hands with 14 each.
2,800 HEK combined in the table, so he's got to pop that Dark Hole, and that's got to hurt.
Yep, there goes the rest of his face-down cards. A pair of Traptrix, Trap Hole Nightmares. And the question is, are there any Fire Hands left?
Follow up.
There are not any Fire Hands left.
No offense from Akridge, but again,
another
rebuilding
card
that back row and gives McDuffie a shot at that Soul Charge.
He looks like he just picked up a Traptrix Myrmileo.
Looked like Myrmileo, yeah.
And I believe he will find that there are many hands in Akridge's graveyard. Along with Call of the Haunted, one, because the other's still on the field. Needle Sealing, Trap Hole Nightmare, Artifact Sanctum. Now he's definitely thinking about the Needle Sealing. Because it was the Sealing and not the Torrential Tribute,
yeah,
that's still in there somewhere. He might not have known that Needle Sealing was in Akridge's deck.
And he knows Torrential Tribute's
but he knows
in
Torrential
there.
Tribute is.
And he just does not want to throw away 2,000 life points into a Torrential Tribute right now.
The safe play would be summon the Traptrix, take a swing.
Yeah. Because he doesn't have to play aggressively right now. Akridge is not putting any pressure on him. And trying to close things out too early is what got McDuffie into this situation in the first place.
Plenty of mutual graveyard checking going on.
Yeah.
This is his third trip to Akridge's graveyard.
It's a lot of trips to Graveyard Town.
He's got to be careful.
If it's not 3, it's at least several.
If he gets a penalty for slow play here, that'll probably put him even further off the mark.
It would at least mentally throw him off.
Traptrix.
Nothing to search. Nothing to
search
for it. Okay. Rough. Both of these decks just straining at the seams. Everything coming apart with just hands gone. Searchable trap hole, normal trap cards gone.
But he gets in for 1,600 damage.
It's becoming just a
and no new cards join Akridge's side
yeah,
of
nothing
the field.
from Akridge.
And it seems that McDuffie has drawn an Ice Hand, which is a particularly safe summon.
Yeah.
At this point. He brings it out.
Just becoming in a
and just swings for the
resource exhausted push fight.
3,000 damage between the two, and this game's almost tied up, 3,800 to 2,800.
That makes things a lot more manageable for McDuffie.
Akridge flips his own Dark Hole, but that is going to cost him his other face-down card.
Yep.
He loses Artifact Moraltalk, which during his own turn isn't coming back.
Does not help. And McDuffie has a Fire Hand.
He's got it.
One trick left.
And now Akridge is probably thinking to himself, what happened? I blew him out with Needle Sealing. Why have I not won yet? The answer is, it's the finals. It really is not that easy.
Yeah.
Fire Hand attacks directly, and that's going to take Akridge down to 2,200.
The first time in this match, McDuffie is leading. Not leading securely in the slightest, but technically leading. And he's playing that Soul Charge really smart by not playing it.
Instead,
that's the right decision.
What appears to be Artifact Sanctum.
Yeah.
Akridge uses Pot of Duality. McDuffie is happy to see that the Torrential is going back
not
to
in the
deck.
back row. Yep. That's got to be McDuffie's first smile in about 8 minutes.
Super important knowledge.
Yeah.
Akridge takes card D, which could be his undoing if he hasn't got something to stop the Moral Talk.
Yep.
And he hasn't got a wiretap main decked. So it could very well be happening.
Those 2 cards won't count for much if you can't see his next turn.
McDuffie flips the Sanctum.
Or if he never gets to draw them in the first place, because Moral Talk just takes the card out.
Moral Talk hits the field.
Yeah.
Does Akridge have a Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare for it?
He
Yes,
does. Still in it.
I get the feeling that we saw that one a while back. It probably searched off of Myrmelio. But this is okay because it's 1 less card in Akridge's back row, and he has to end his turn.
Yep.
McDuffie was really hoping for a monster there.
And McDuffie's in this position now, too, where he could throw down the Soul Charge and push for game here, depending on that back row, if he feels like risking it. But greed is what almost lost him this duel to begin with.
I don't know what you're getting with Soul Charge that'll actually win you the game at this point, though. I think the play is take Akridge down to 600.
Yeah.
And then see if you can get another level 4 for Gaga Cowboy.
It'll be a 2-turn anyways.
And all of a sudden, he lets off the brake. He lets off the accelerator.
Oh, there he goes. There he goes. He's not.
Kept his hand on it. The judge has ruled that he did not commit to the position change. 1,600 more points. You can really tell.
Next turn, you could cowboy up.
Nope. You can tell that the needle ceiling thing is still affecting him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no way that you would switch the fire hand to defense position at that point. Akridge down to 600 life points. Need something here right now, even if it is just a bluff. Checks very carefully, trying to figure out what that last back row card is. We know that it is Torrential Tribute, and if Akridge does summon something and has no answer for the tribute and has no follow-up monster, McDuffie could Soul Charge for 2 and get to the Cowboy that way.
Yep. The win scenarios are starting to stack up now for McDuffie. He can attack, he can Soul Charge for Cowboy. And that's bad news for Akridge, who's currently just looking to survive this.
He summons Traptrix Myrmelio.
Yep. That's still not tremendously helpful in any way.
The thing he's got to think about here is, does McDuffie have another Ice Hand in his deck? Because if he does, getting that bottomless trap hole doesn't amount to a whole lot. Fire hand goes down.
He must know
takes Myrmelio
McDuffie doesn't
with it.
have it.
That's probably what they were counting for.
Yeah.
Yes. No Ice Hand left, much like Akridge has no Fire Hands
Now he's
left.
got that big back row again.
But
he
McDuffie
rips the
draws
Fire Hand.
The 3rd Fire Hand.
He's got 2 shots at this, between attacking with a Fire Hand and Soul Charging for Cowboy.
Summons the Fire Hand. Akridge is going to be forced into doing something here.
No response from Akridge. Oh.
Yeah, unless he's got the prison.
That's a little... No, I just mean like visually, like facially. But no, then he went straight into an emotional response.
We all know he's got the bottomless.
Yeah. Did he let the summon go? No, okay,
You can only let it go if you
he had the prison. Yeah, exactly. Now he's going to Soul Charge. He's going to go for the Cowboy.
He knows the Soul Charge is there. Soul Charge for 2. And he's getting the Myrmelios to figure out what's going on, which might not be the best move if one of those is a Moral Talk.
Yep, that would be rough.
He goes for both.
What is Akridge thinking? What is he doing? What is he doing? What is he doing?
He's looking at those face-down cards, and it is not the look of someone who's got
it,
but it's a Sanctum. And that is rough.
That's going to keep him in. 800 to 600.
That is rough, but McDuffie is the man with the monster on the field.
Yeah.
Akridge with nothing in hand. Top deck's Mystical Space Typhoon just to see what's there.
Oh!
He did have a card in hand. Unclear as to what happened there. Dianai for Cowboy for game.
There we go. Thought we were going to see it from McDuffie. Couldn't get it. Brought those Vermilios right into the Sanctum, and
he didn't have to do it.
Cost himself the Cowboy.
Didn't have to do it.
Wow.
Deon Akridge takes game 1 of the finals.
I don't think he'll bring in the crossouts since he's going second. But the first duel, just in sum total, it really came down to Akridge's superior ability to respond. That's what it came down to every time. And it's just that bigger, beefier trap lineup that just seems more useful overall than McDuffie's like increased level of acceleration and card filtering.
It's not going to do him a whole lot of good.
There was that pot of duality at one point. Yeah, there was a pot of duality at one point where McDuffie like revealed an Upstart Goblin, and it's like, well, that's a blank card. Like, you're obviously not picking that.
But we're back underway with McDuffie summoning Murelio for Bottomless Trap Hole.
Looks like he's off to a good start.
And he sets 4.
Looks like a warning. Warning, too. All right. This one might go better for him.
It'll be mysterious. I didn't see most of that. Ice Hand up for Akridge. A warning would be very helpful if he had it.
Yeah.
The attack appears to go through successfully. And we'll see if one of those debunks is hiding in McDuffie's back row. Akridge declares his target. That one. And the wiretap is lost. So that means Firehand's coming up next.
Wow. This could be a big early advantage for Akridge.
Pretty shocking that that's worked.
Yeah.
Against 4 face-down cards. Firehand is next. Runs into the Traptrix as well. 300. Well, actually,
might as
no
well
damage
crash
there
it,
because they crash.
Why not? You already got a free card.
I'm still thinking that she's got 1,700. But it is not. Only 16. Four face-down cards. That's how we're used to seeing Akridge's Spell and Trap card zones look.
That is Deon Akridge in his natural habitat.
And there's the memory. That'll banish the Ice Hand temporarily.
Not as good as grabbing the Murmilio, but definitely solid. It's still a plus.
Yeah, it keeps Ice Hand out of McDuffie's possession as well.
Yep.
Once it gets over to Akridge's side of the field.
So it's destroyed over there. It's not doing anybody any favors.
Yep, he can't do the old pyramid turtle trick.
No. You do not creature swap Ice Hand like it's a Mystic Tomato. Not how that works.
I'm sure there are a lot of very sad old school players.
Duality revealing MST and 2 Call of the Haunted.
He's got a hand in his graveyard. So he takes one of the calls.
Not necessarily useful yet, but better than a blind MST would be.
And Call of the Haunted really has served him so well throughout this tournament, especially in the last couple of rounds.
That's going to sit around for 5 or 6 turns and then ruin somebody's life.
No monsters, though. Just another face-down card. Likely the Call of the Haunted. McDuffie is up, and he picks up Breakthrough Skill.
Does he have a Traptrix Diania? Is that what that is?
Looks like it.
Looks like it. Yeah, there we go.
And he summons her. Now, it looked like he was holding back. I think that was an... I'm not entirely certain. He's holding back a spell in his plan. Torrential Tribute is activated.
Was the target? Or was the target different? Must have been the target.
This is massively, massively unfortunate.
That was fairly lucky.
And at the end of the turn, Akridge gets that Ice Hand.
Now he's got something to poke him with. And off he goes.
Attack goes through. McDuffie goes down to 6,600. Still in the lead, theoretically. But the field tells a different tale.
Akridge sets a 4th card to his spell and trap card zone. It's now 4-on-4 in the back rows.
Duffy picks up a Fire Hand.
Sets it.
Avoiding being bottomless.
Does not look happy.
There's Call of the Haunted. And it looks like he's going to bring back Fire Hand.
It seems ambitious to try for like an Abyss Dweller or something here. Clearly going for an Ixie summon, so he's just attacking. He could wait until the battle phase.
He changes his mind, brings back an Ice Hand.
So you want that double water attribute Dweller?
Be all right. Just got to remember which one is yours.
Yeah. It's the one in the purple sleeves.
Of course, he could get Lava Val Chain and try to set up some nonsense. He doesn't have Myrmilio.
Doesn't have Myrmilio in the yard, yeah. Oh, I see. That's how they're discerning which Ice Hand is which. They have a system.
Excellent. But the more important thing now is to find out what exactly is going to be Xyz summoned.
And will it stick? Yeah, he's going for that double water Dweller.
I mean, you got to think Duffy's got something there. But he didn't for the first Ice Hand, so he might not know.
Yeah, there's the Bottomless.
There's the Bottomless. He's going to go ahead and chain Abyss Dweller's ability.
Uh-huh.
McDuffie's probably going to be okay with that. Akridge is not one to summon more monsters.
Flipping the breakthrough skill on it.
Just in case. Gets it in the graveyard. And just in case Akridge does have another one.
And Wiretap.
It would get in the graveyard, but Wiretap sends it back to the deck instead. So, no graveyard effects this turn.
And I'm not sure that's worth anything exactly.
What it did do is take multiple cards off of both sides of the field.
Yeah. Simplification that may not work in Akridge's favor at all. I'm surprised he didn't Wiretap the Bottomless.
You'd think that that would probably be the play there. Because there's no Black Horn of Heaven. He passed on the ability to use that already. Fire Hand is up.
Maybe he really did just want that back row simplification, knowing that he has the Fire Hand, but
it's a possibility.
I'd love to ask him about that.
And McDuffie's going to take a look to see how many hands are gone. Just one fire, one ice. The other ice was his. And
Fire Hand attacks.
Duffy's thinking about something. He goes with Artifact Sanctum. Now Moraltok is his only choice here. And he summons it in defense position.
Loses it to Nightmare.
He activates his ability, but loses it to Traptrix Trapple Nightmare. In the end, though, that may work out a bit in his favor because he did not set off his opponent's fire hand. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to set off his own fire hand because of the Abyss Dweller.
Yeah.
So
that worked out pretty well for Akridge.
Yeah.
That was good.
Was pretty valuable. McDuffie starts off his turn with Pot of Dichotomy, Fire Hand, Ice Hand, Traptrix Diania going back to the deck. Not a bad draw here. Draws 2 and gives his graveyard another check. And it seems like he's picked up a Sanctum. Pot of Duality is next, revealing Pot of Duality, Soul Charge, and Debunk.
Always nice to stack Duality and Dichotomy.
Yep, Debunk could be pretty useful.
Yeah. Granted, so could Soul Charge.
No, got to keep in mind, he cannot special summon this turn.
Oh, yeah, no.
Akridge would get free reign for a turn to get him down as low as possible.
Not this turn, obviously, but I don't see Akridge rushing him for a ton of damage next turn.
He doesn't have enough cards to do it. Still, every point hurts. If he could get him down to 35, 30-something?
Yeah, then that Soul Charge starts looking pretty costly. Taking the Soul Charge. Maybe. He's thinking.
Looking to see what he's got. He's got Myrmidon and Moraltok. And he's got a Sanctum in his hand. So the plan is probably to Sanctum in the opponent's turn and then Soul Charge in his own.
Pleiades up.
Pleiades up. And he's got what appears to be another Ice Hand as well.
And he's got a Defender, so
this could work. As long as there aren't another 4 million back row cards on Akridge's side of the field, which is always what seems to happen.
It's a 2-turn long con. Akridge has 2 turns to find another clown car full of trap cards, yes.
Be interesting to see if Akridge decides to go on the offensive here.
Losing another back row to that Ice Hand would hurt.
It would. And he'd also be in a position where, there could be a crash before the Pleiades.
He's playing the MST. He's not
Space Typhoon, and it seems like he targeted the Sanctum.
That would be bad. I'm pretty sure that is what happens.
Sanctum, the blind MST on Artifact Sanctum. We told you about blind MST on Artifact Sanctum.
Really just like the #1 play people have not wanted to make since that card was released.
We told you. We did it on the strategy site. They've done it on all the fan sites, all the other sites, and it's happened in the finals of the WCQ.
Korey McDuffie had his moment of greed last game, and maybe this was Akridge's. That's gonna hurt.
He's still got the Fire Hand, though, so he's at least going to get something out of this. Specifically, he's going to get an Ice Hand out of it, and probably a no longer on the field Moraltok. And it appears Akridge is questioning right now whether or not the Artifact Sanctum is destroyed by Mystical Space Typhoon, or rather it's destroyed by game mechanics. And the answer is it's destroyed by Mystical Space Typhoon before it is destroyed by game mechanics and sent to the graveyard. So, what he can do here, well, he'd have to give up the Moraltok. He could activate the Moraltok and chain the Sanctum to it, because it'll all activate in a new chain. So what he's trying to do here is organize the chain so that the Fire Hand is destroyed as Chain Link 2.
Yeah, so that it's not the last thing to happen and its effect doesn't resolve. Wow.
I'm not exactly certain
Akridge,
what the end result was there.
We
but
can tell what the
Akridge,
result was based on
yeah.
McDuffie's face. That is the first smile we've seen in a bit from him.
Akridge sees.
Deon Akridge concedes after taking that massive, massive minus.
That's what happens when you use Mystical Space Typhoon on a face-down Artifact Sanctum.
That was rough, too, because he did not necessarily have to use that MST, at least based on the information we have. Maybe he knows something we don't, but...
That's 2 games that are really defined by getting a little bit too greedy with the destruction effects and then paying for it big time.
People want that title.
And it's going to take the full 3 games to find out who's going to get it.
Yep.
So this time around, Deon Akridge going first. More traps. More
Extra card to start. More traps. Liking his chances. McDuffie's penchant for aggression might be his only way to take that on. But certainly has higher spirits. He looks very happy about how that went. Akridge laughing it off too.
It's good to keep a smile on your face.
Yeah, both these guys seem really good at just managing their emotional reactions and managing their stress levels here.
One of the good things about getting this late in the tournament, though, is that you're already going to the World Championship.
Yeah.
I'm kind of relaxed. The rest is gravy, really.
You can't really dislike the guy sitting across from you who's going to be your teammate in like 12 minutes, basically.
They're probably talking right now about what they want to play at the World Championship.
Yeah.
Not that they know yet what they are allowed to play at the World Championship. They'll find out all about that tomorrow, and it's really quite interesting. The rest of the world will have to wait to see what challenges the World Championship competitors have to face this year.
Really? So the qualified players are going to know that before the dueling public?
Correct.
Interesting.
Qualified players will all be notified first, since they are the ones that have to come up with new decks to deal with the World Championship. Deon Akridge, it looked like he slipped a Noble Enough Crossout into his deck at the last second there. Useful for if McDuffie is on the defensive early.
That would be a pretty awesome early game play. Can't Nobleman a Crossout an Artifact Sanctum.
You cannot. Fire Hand and Ice Hand, though, fair game, and they've figured greatly into both of the duels so far.
Yeah.
And he knows that. Thus, Nobleman of Crossout. Looked like only 1 copy, though. You don't want to get stuck with too many of them.
No.
Because if one of those hand effects goes off, all the rest are face up.
Yep. That's a bit of risk, though, because you do want to see it as early as possible. I feel like the further into the mid-game you get, the fewer face-up monsters we see for that exact reason you mentioned.
It seems like he's basically McDuffie's deck has a better chance of getting away with going lighter on sided cards, say only 1 crossout, because he's got all the extra draw acceleration.
Yeah, he's going to see his best cards a little more frequently anyways. He's just not going to see them in the sheer volume of pink that Akridge can rely on.
And we are underway.
Here we go.
In the last duel of this year's North American World Championship qualifier.
Emilio for McDuffie.
Akridge starts out with Pot of Duality for Fire Hand, Ice Hand, and Fiendish Chain. All
cards you'd rather have without your opponent really knowing you have them.
Yep.
That's unfortunate.
It does set you up to do something fancy, like with that Myrmelio breakthrough skill play we saw earlier.
Yeah, that was nice.
And it looked like he took the Ice Hand. Did he take the ice hand or the... Selection was made slightly off camera.
Yes.
But he didn't take the fire hand, I can tell you that much.
Pretty sure it was the ice hand, but yeah.
4 face down cards. And that's it for Akridge.
For face down cards, the back row, Akridge's signature move at this point.
McDuffie looking at a nice hand. Traptrix, Murmilio, Dark Hole. Looks like Artifact Sanctum.
Ice hand, Murmilio.
Solemn Warning.
Sanctum, Warning. That seems strong.
That is not a bad hand.
Not at all.
For the final game of the weekend. Sets a monster, 3 face down Speller Traps. Not ready to risk that Murmilio to a finishing quite yet.
We can see now that Akridge did definitely take the ice hand, and he also has a Dark Hole.
And he plays
he's using right now.
But that's going to set off McDuffie's ice hand.
Unless McDuffie hits an Artifact Sanctum here, that was a good exchange for Duffy.
Mystical Space Typhoon is then chained to his own card.
Keep him from getting the fire hand.
Ice hand from getting the fire hand out. Took a second there to see
that
what's
is
happening.
A big sacrificial bunt of a play.
That is an old school tactic, though. That harkens back to Heavy Storm versus Starlight Road.
Starlight Road, exactly. Clears the way for Akridge to make an attack.
Drops his own ice hand. Al McDuffie,
could outplay a possible Sanctum because
there's a Solemn. He could use it to keep that hand completely off the board.
Yeah.
He's really struggling with this play.
I think he recognizes this as a fairly obvious turning point, whether or not he lets that stay on the table.
If he lets it stay on the table, he's going to have to Solemn it anyways. He'll just be down 1,400 more points.
Yeah. I mean, you never want to use that card that early, but it totally seems to make sense here.
I think he's thinking about maybe using Dark Hole on it, but I wouldn't do that.
He just saw how well that worked out, so...
He's going to go ahead and activate Sanctum.
Just a brick wall it? Not destroy it, or what?
There's a chance he's trying to find out what Akridge has down. Maybe draw out one of the trap holes.
Yeah, maybe just try to suck out a Nightmare.
And...
doesn't do him any favors for his in-hand Dark Hole.
He does
say
not
that much.
Activate the effect.
Yeah. Just going to wall it.
Just big enough. Oh no, he did activate the effect.
Huh, okay.
He just made no indication that he did. And then he goes ahead and Solemns the ice hand anyways.
It's a little strange.
I'm not exactly sure what the game plan here was. It must have been to try to draw out the Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. That's the only thing I can think of that fits that particular play plan.
Yeah. Draws his own Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. Has Murmilio in hand, so he can go get another one if he really wants it.
Here's the thing, though. People have been burned so many times by the mass removal traps.
Yep. Just swing for 21.
And I think he's going to try to swing for 21 first.
Again, he's here with like live cards that could be doing work, but he's facing down this massive back row.
It's awfully frustrating. I think this is one reason why Dragon Ruler players don't mind this matchup so much. Because they feel that my monster's going to keep coming back, so I'm going to keep flinging them at all your back row cards.
Throw dragons at your back row. So, set the Nightmare, considered it, took it back. Now he's poking for the 21.
Going for the 21. Right call there.
Yeah, I think so.
Akridge has his own artifact sanctum.
Artifact sanctum.
And McDuffie wishes he had that Traptrix Trapple Nightmare down a turn sooner. Fortunately, he drew it this turn. He's got a regular bottomless Trapple.
Bottomless.
And in this way, the field's clear of monsters. Again, a common sight in these last 3 rounds.
Yeah.
No normal summon yet, though.
There we go.
And he makes it with the Traptrix.
Oh, now he can put up a pretty good back row.
Traptrix Trapple Nightmare. I guess it would be ×2.
Because he's played the bottomless, so...
Unless he's brought in a deep dark trap hole and he wants it here, or an acid trap hole and he wants it here.
I don't think so, because he's seen no soul charge from Akridge since Akridge doesn't play it.
He makes no search, in fact.
He made no search, period.
The Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare he has. He's probably sided the other one
Yeah,
out.
he must have. Akridge has his own. Is he going to get a search? He's going to get his search. Literally just 1 card ahead of McDuffie on a perpetual basis here.
You're really rough not getting your search after the Myrmelia, though.
That's a beat.
Picked up Pot of Duality. Could be interesting. Sees Traptrix Diania, Ice Hand, and Torrential Tribute.
Diania is pretty good.
And he has a ripe opportunity.
Yeah, just to slam and then main phase 2, bring it back and pop a back row card and just start limiting that back row and getting stuff under control again.
Yep, and he'd probably take out 2 with it.
Well,
because he'd have to get the bottomless.
Wouldn't happen main phase 2 here, of course. Let me correct myself, because that's a Pot of Duality, but...
But it represents a first step in getting somewhere on those 8,000 life points.
Yeah.
That giant wall of cards.
It's progress across 2 different fields.
He does not go for the crash, though, leaving it to Akridge to make the first move in this case. Which has not exactly been something he's been prone to doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that
one time he did, it didn't work out.
That reactive playstyle has worked pretty well for Akridge so far. Yeah, that's what he wanted to see.
Ice Hand.
Ice Hand just pick that off and then trade and just grab a free card again.
That is rough.
Yep.
McDuffie regretting not trying to trade the Traptrix right away. Loses his Traptrix Trapple Nightmare. And Fire Hand's up next.
That was so ideal. It's going to be another 1,600.
Now the question here is, which monster do you trade? Probably the Myrmelia.
Pretty sure the Myrmelia, yeah.
But he's picking up
that Fire Hand. Literally considering throwing down the gauntlet. No. I'm sure he'll attack with Myrmelia.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
He's summoning the Fire Hand in.
Also acceptable. I don't see why he put it in defense. Just swing with the Myrm and just keep dealing some damage.
Not sure what's going on, but they're being given free reign to do whatever. Does not crash with Myrmelios. Dark Hole comes down next. Blasts away everything.
McDuffie will play that Diania and pick off a back row card if it works.
Akridge still looks like he's thinking about whether or not the Dark Hole is going to go through. Is he considering compulsory evacuation device? Save one of his own monsters?
Yeah, it could compulse the Diania. Sorry, the Myrmelia. Be acceptable.
It's pretty much the only thing I think he's got in to help. Yep, there is the compulse.
There we go.
And
really?
He takes back the Fire Hand. The Fire Hand.
I guess that's going to keep McDuffie off of a certain Ixie summons at least. I mean, he could
Not
go into the arc.
He could do the arc.
Yeah, which this is a move we've seen several times in both of these gentlemen's feature matches.
And that bottomless trap hole is
bottomless.
not useful in this case because it's 2 Traptrix
They're all
monsters.
Traptrix.
And he goes for the chain.
He's stacking the Dianaya play. Probably.
Question is,
certainly doesn't have a call to set up
attack
with a
position
Moral
or
Talk.
defense position. Looks like he's leaving it in attack
He'll
position.
put an attack for sure.
With a fire hand on Akridge's side.
I don't think he cares. He's dictating the pace of play here. He's dictating the direction of aggression.
Dianaya goes up top. And he sets another card. That looked like a very bright trap card, possibly
Looked like
debunk.
Looked like either a debunk or a sanctum.
Set 1 card face down.
Monster
Takes
losing
Dianaya
that back row
right back.
again. Wow.
And he hits Moral Talk this time.
Oh,
got
the
the
debunk.
Moral Talk is negated and banished.
Wow.
And he knows what that last one is. That's Fire Hand.
Yep. That means Abyss Dweller's coming out. There it is. It's right up top. The one you want is on the top. There it is. You keep your thumbs right on it.
It's right there.
There you go.
McDuffie can't believe his good
Wow.
fortune. He's like, am I really allowed to summon
just
Abyss Dweller
the-
here? That's a total house.
All of his cards were required for that play, and wow, it's not over yet. But man, he's gonna. Does he have a third Dianaya?
He does.
He only has
not.
2.
He's only got 2.
Let's see what he's doing next.
He's probably going to stack up a hand, though,
Yeah,
or
probably.
a Myrmilio.
Yep.
Though with the Myrmilio, he's got nothing left to search, so
yeah.
it's got to be
No,
the hand.
the fire hand is the obvious. Just to
What
shut
another
Akridge off his
turnaround.
ass. How big is Akridge's hand, though? Does he have like another 4 trap cards in there? Like every other time this has happened?
Probably.
Wow. That was a heck of a turn of
some
events.
Comeback.
Wow.
And Akridge cannot believe what he's seeing. Got to go first in the deciding game. Seemed to take a lot of early advantage. And now, Val Chain and Abyss Dweller have turned things completely around for McDuffie. Being able to get past that bottomless trap hole because he's playing with a pair of Traptrix monsters.
The immunity of the Traptrix monsters was
massive,
clutch.
Massive. Myrmilio is up for Akridge. He's got a Traptrix trap hole nightmare. And another pair of trap cards.
That is not very good.
It's not 4, but it is some traps.
One of which is irrelevant. We know that much. There's one relevant card back there that might somehow turn this around. Especially if McDuffie gets super greedy and falls into a torrential needle ceiling type position again.
And we could see
but I don't
Memory
think
of
that's a
an
mistake he's
Adversary
going to make
here.
again.
We could see Dimensional Prison.
Yeah. Adversary would be pretty stellar.
And he's looking to see what's in there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping to find that card already in the graveyard, but no luck, Mr. McDuffie. It has not been played yet, this duel.
Whoever wins this one definitely earned it.
Val Chain
Holding it.
thinking about just swinging.
Yep.
And
The
he
attack
does it.
made, and Myrmilio goes down.
200 over Myrmilio, with another 1,700 to come from Abyss Dweller. But between the two, I'm pretty sure that's the one that you would use the Dimensional Prisoner Memory of an Adversary on.
Yeah.
So not a guaranteed 1,700 damage yet. But
He does play a
Akridge
third
does
monster.
take it. Third monster comes
Draw
in,
phase kicks off the Abyss Dweller's effect.
and that's it.
We have a new North American champion, Korey McDuffie,